Just outside of a Chevron gas station in Fresno, California, 19-year-old Dylan Noble was shot and killed by Fresno police during a routine traffic stop on June 25th. This almost a week before the police shooting deaths of Alton Sterling in Louisiana and Philando Castile in Minnesota, which sparked nationwide protests. The death of Dylan Noble was largely unnoticed by mainstream media. Friends of the young man had taken to social media, saying that had Noble been black, his case might have received more attention, especially because immediately following the shooting, a bystander cell phone video emerged showing Dylan already on the ground and then being shot at least 2 more times by an officer's gun. But now we're getting even more information as the Fresno PD releases the body cam footage from at least the 2 officers who fired on Noble. RT's Manila Chan spoke with Stuart Chandler, the family attorney, asking him if the body cam footage affects the case or changes any of their perspectives they previously held.
Well, it's interesting. I think from our perspective, it enhances it. And the reason is that it clearly shows all the things that went wrong during this traffic stop. And it especially lets the public know that as this unarmed, innocent young man was being confronted by the police, that the police made quite a number of errors. And we see when he was on the ground, unarmed, disabled, yet they continue to pump him with another pistol round and a shotgun. So I think that having it released certainly is helpful for what we're trying to do to get justice for Dylan on behalf of the family.
Now, it's also said that Dylan told police that he, quote, hated his life as he reached behind his back. What do you think that meant? Does his family have any idea what that could mean?
It's really crystal clear to me, learning a little bit more about current terminology. And as you can see, I'm a little bit more of an older generation, but the terms that people use these days instead of, oh, busted or whatever, if you're confronted with something and things just aren't going right. And it's a slang term for what was going wrong with him at that day. So we know that he's pulled over by the police. He's got guns trained on him. And frankly, we're waiting toxicology to see perhaps there's blood alcohol. We all wonder that. We don't know at this point in time. But let's just surmise that he'd had some beer. He's got blood alcohol. Now he's a teenager pulled over by the cops, and he knows he's going to get busted or thinking that. And instead of using a term like some expletive that others might use, he goes, I hate my life, or I effing hate my life. He's not saying that to mean I'm so depressed I want to die. It's just an expression showing his kind of disappointment or whatever it is.
I see. So kind of like what the kids are saying with the letters FML, as they say nowadays on social media. And I was just about to ask you if the autopsy had been performed and if there were any signs of perhaps drugs in his system. Could that perhaps have been why he didn't comply with the officers? Maybe he wasn't sober. Did Dylan have a history of anything like that?
We don't have the answers to the autopsy situation. It's been almost 3 weeks now. I did talk to the Fresno County Coroner's Office immediately afterwards. They let me know very clearly that they'll do their job. Toxicology and autopsy information will be released at a later time. We do know, getting back to your question about, was this a suicide or a depression situation, but that day, nothing was going wrong. He'd been with some friends earlier in the day doing some yard work. Then he was with another friend and hanging out, and they were going to go pick up Dylan's dirt bike to load up in the truck to take it to a yard sale. So it was just a perfectly normal Saturday afternoon.
Typical afternoon.
It really was. They were just having a good day. Shortly before the traffic stop, he'd gunned apparently the pickup, and that's why the video cam showed some smoke from the tires.
Okay.
Young guys do with their big pickup trucks,
Okay. Now, do you think that in Dylan's case, is this an example of police not having the proper training of de-escalation techniques? Do you feel that police culture is perhaps a shoot first, ask questions later culture? What went wrong there?
I can't comment on the culture for police in other part of the country, or maybe even specifically on other instances in our community, although there have been those criticisms in the Fresno area. Clearly, that's what happened here. You hit the nail on the head. They failed to de-escalate. They actually escalated when it didn't need to happen. It was a traffic stop. And I've had the luxury now having just less than 48 hours of finally being able to review the body cam with multiple experts throughout the country on police practices, including a nationally recognized expert on the police use of canines. I've even had law enforcement officers around the country calling and emailing their support of what I'm doing and criticizing what happened here in Fresno, because they took a simple traffic stop and escalated it by all of their commands to somebody who clearly wasn't communicating with the officers, wasn't fully apparently either recognizing or mentally processing what they're telling him and then doing it.
That was Stuart Chandler, attorney for the family of Dylan Noble in Fresno, California.